Thank you guys for showing up again for the pre-stream for Sentinel. Thanks again to Vish for that amazing intro video, by the way. Okay, I just saw what they put for Cole for the picture.
Hey, I like this one.
So I'm Scarlett. I'm back again, and this one is with La La Land. Last minute substitution. Excited to cast tonight, right, Lala?
Yes.
I mean, not
Certainly
cast,
exciting.
but you know,
Close enough.
similar. Anyways, as the video said, Coachify is our sponsor. It's a platform for esports coaches. They can get students, they can grow their business. It's completely free to join, 0 commissions, and it has PayPal integration. So I think it's really great for coaches to use that to find a way to help their students the best. And that is our sponsor today. As for the league itself for Sentinel, we only have 4 teams. and all of them decided to double round robin because it made the most sense with the weeks that we have. So the format specifically is that there's going to be double round robin, so each team plays each other twice. It's going to be 3 games, no matter the score, so it can be a 3-0, and that's for 6 weeks. And then the playoffs is double elimination. The winner's bracket is best of 3 until the finals, and then if you're ever in an elimination match, it's going to be best of 5. And the playoffs for them will take 4 weeks. Anyways, we're going to actually have the op.gg's up on stream, I'm pretty sure here. So it will be a little bit easier for everyone to follow with. And with that in mind, let's start with Baron Besties.
All right. Baron Besties. Interesting lineup.
What do you find interesting about it that they got 2 T1 players?
You know, T1 Gumayushi and Karya came to play, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to see them in our league. Anyways, let's start with the top lane, however. We'll get to those bombshells later. So top lane is going to be Neapolitan. So again, we only have like 6 days of solo queue and last split to go off of. But you know, let's make the best of it, right? So if you see, Neapolitan is going to be the last one on the screen for the stream, and you can see a lot of interesting choices, mostly carry top laners, right, with the occasional Ornn. Cassante, classic. I am curious what the meta is going to bring for top lane, though, because it's been through so many different ruptures just because of the new patch. But it may settle down by the time our games actually start next week. So this is what I've been seeing from a lot of top laners, though. I mean, there's a Gwen here or two that really hasn't shown up in the previous OPGGs we were looking at. But for the most part, there's like just so many top laners that play Renekton, play Ornn, play these champions that are consistent in pro play. And no, I'm not talking about the middle. No. So we will have to see what kind of jungler they have to see what that kind of lane is going to be like. So the jungler is, of course, Kuronami. You can see the OPGG there. Oh, 1 second. Let me just double check. No, it is Almond. I just have things in the wrong order on my end. My bad. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Sway jungle, not quite getting into the meta yet. So what do you think of the current jungle right now, Lala? Do you think this is a jungle meta that makes sense, or jungle picks that make sense with the meta?
Currently, yes, because everyone is still kind of warming around, you know, carry jungles and jungles that do a lot of impact. We do see that like Xin Zhao's come back into popularity, so I'm going to see that a lot of junglers are going to be playing Xin Zhao. We're going to see a bunch of Jacks and possibly Brand, but Almond, they haven't played much of Brand at all or anything. They do play the occasional normal stuff that we all like and see, like Nocturne, there's a Viego, there's like spicy picks, like AP picks that I see. Like Evelyn, yeah. Lilia, Elise, like I'm very excited to see what Almond plays for this team because it's just like how spicy could this get, because we haven't seen much of the really serious AP picks at all, and I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of AP mages in the jungle, and it's really going to be about which junglers have practiced those champions, because a lot of junglers really haven't. Like the Evelyn has been in the back burner for so many junglers for so long, I feel like. But well, let me check last season for Almond, because I'm curious if they've played Evelyn before. They're like Storm Surge broken. I'm gonna play Evelyn to grind ranked. Okay. Yeah, this is the first time they've ever played Evelyn. So I think that it is a little bit of an adaptation to the current meta, and we'll see if Almond feels comfortable to bring that to games or not. Mm-hmm. But I do notice a lot of, just a lot of damage junglers, right? You're not really seeing the tank engagers, except for maybe a Rammus. And that can go pretty well with a top laner who's willing to play somewhat of the bruiser or the tank tops like Ornn.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Okay, let's go to the Hui player that I said was a jungler for a second. in Kuronami, which is foreshadowing, but yeah, there's a lot of Hui on this match history list. I'm curious if they picked it up at the end of season whenever he came out. And they did. That was their number 1 play champion of Split 2 of last year. So they have been playing this champion since he had a 40% win rate or however low it was. And I think that considering they're still playing him, you can probably expect to see that in the season. Hui's in a much better spot right now. But you'll have to see what they can do with it with the new items as they change. Like a lot of different builds here. Always Ludens, yes, but then sometimes the Storm Surge, sometimes the Malignance. What will it actually be? Another thing that I do notice, which is important for these kinds of games, is TF. You don't really see a lot of TF in solo queue by people at this level. Whenever you're talking about coordinated play, TF suddenly shoots up in how strong he is. And you may not see him do much in solo queue, but suddenly you're in a best of 3 and he's just absolutely destroying your bot lane with pressure.
I do agree on those. He occasionally does play Nidalee mid, so
I was gonna just ignore that. I think that's a one-up. I don't think that's actually happening. But I could be wrong. There could be a Nidalee mid one of these days.
Hey, if Nidalee mid comes, you have my vote. You're gonna win that game. Trust.
Yeah, but just for context, right? So we only have a little bit of the OPGG on stream. Of the let's see, I think 50-ish games that Kuro played last split, 23 of them were on Hui. And the win rate for Kuro was 57% on Hui, which is much higher than most people playing Hui at the time. So very excited to see if that gets through and what it looks like in coordinated play. Because obviously, our league hasn't seen Hui yet just because he was released too recently.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure this Hui pick's either a pick or ban, depending on what's playing mid. I do like Hui. Hui's like the invoker from Dota 2. The just hit your keyboard, pick a spell.
Honestly, having played him, I feel he's very much more intuitive than people give him credit for. But yes, he does have way too many abilities. All right, let's talk about the not T1 bot lane. Keria and Gumayusa. Do we have different names for these players, or am I really going to be saying Keria and Gumayusa?
It's Moxie and Liv. Moxie's the
Okay, I don't know if they're willing to go by that in the league, but for now, I guess we'll call them Moxie and Liv. So starting with the AD carry, just for order's sake. I mean, I'm seeing so much Soraka. I don't know, but yeah, not too many games played this season. So I'm probably just going to rely on last season. I do like that they picked up Aphelios whenever it was broken, which shows a little bit of... Oh, wait, no. So they've been playing Aphelios for a while, which is, not usually a solo queue pick, but something that you do pick whenever you're playing coordinated play. So Aphelios is in a great spot right now. Wouldn't be surprised to see that. As for previous seasons, yeah, a lot of Aphelios, a lot of Caitlyn, a little bit of Senna. Would love to see an actual Senna lane brought out in this league instead of like, your support locks in Senna, so you have to play some AD carry and double AD carry it. Okay, so I brought this up last time, and I think it's very interesting whenever you see a player like this that in the half split we had last year, 2023 season 2, or split 2, they tried 75 different champions in ranked. Oh, this is total ranked. Let me check without ranked flex. Yeah, they tried 73 champions in ranked solo only. Which definitely shows well, first of all, during Split 2, they were playing a competitive, coordinated season, so it makes sense that you want to keep things open. But it's interesting to see if this is going to be where they settle into the bot lane, or if playing this many champions means that they're just trying to fill wherever they can.
Yeah, I do agree with those. I'm curious though, because Liv and Moxie, they did play top and jungle, so I'm curious if they're gonna play Ivern and Rengar bot lane just for the memes, because I know one of them plays Rengar, and then I know, man, I forget which one's jungle or jungle or top, but I know they played Ivern with that combo before, so that'll be funny to see. I'm willing to bet that they would just do that for the memes.
You see some crazy things in plat, but I think it's more likely that they pick like Senna and then a jungler or a top laner that you would never see bot lane usually, because I feel like those lanes kind of work better. But Ivern Rengar would be hilarious, so you know. I am curious if their experience in other lanes can bring them to get something fresh and new into the bot lane. But I mean, you know, Aphelios isn't broken, right? If it ain't broke. So let's look at the support though real quick before we move on. Yeah, so let me see if I can see which one was which from last year. Oh no, so okay. So for Caria, as it were, they are also playing a bunch of champions in Ring Solo. They've got an amazing 85. So both of these players, yeah, I can see that they changed roles. But it's nice to see that in this season they've landed squarely in AD carry and support. And even for Caria, it is a lot of Enchanter supports. Just the Janna, the Seraphine, the Sona, the Taric. I mean, Taric out of those is like the only one that's really anything different, and all of them have a shield or a heal. So, interested to see if that trend continues. Enchanters were really broken for the past few days on this patch. But, you know, Aphelios and an Enchanter, it's as old as Aphelios is himself, 200 years. So, nothing wrong with that, right?
Don't mind me of 200 years. I don't want to go. 200 years is pretty fun, but it's
like if they spent 200 years developing it, then it can't be wrong. So Aphelios, Enchanter, absolutely destroy. If they ban it, maybe we just go Ivern Rengar.
Hey, that would be funny. That would be that's hopefully.
Yeah, I really like it whenever supports have played other roles, because support is definitely one of the more unique roles, just like jungle is. But at the same time, a lot of supports, while they are very gifted in the things that make a good support, they do lack in other areas. And whenever you've played other roles at the same level you've played support, you can kind of pick up those areas like lane control and pressure and tempo, you know?
Mm-hmm. I do agree there.
Like, there's nothing like a mid laner that switched to support whenever they show up mid lane at level 3, absolutely destroying the other mid laner. And the other mid laner's like, where's my support? What's going on?
Yeah, that is the role swap effect. You getting ganked by your support and be like, I used to play this role. Hello.
Anyways, the sub is Ember. I think we talked about Ember yesterday. I imagine that it's really just because, you know, she's running the owning of the team. You know, you're gonna sub for them if something goes wrong. Mostly support stuff, but I imagine that she would be willing to play mostly anything. Not much to say about that specifically, but I am interested in how this team stacks up. Okay, so like overall team dynamics though, like bringing it all the way back. I feel like this is really just like bread and butter, like copy the meta, and that's totally fine, you know? If you play League of Legends better than your opponents, you don't have to innovate. And if you do innovate, then that's fun too. But I think that this is definitely like shows that this team just wants to do good League of Legends play and do it at the best they can. And that's usually pretty good. You know, there's a reason why the meta is the meta.
Yes.
So I think that's what we should expect from their investees. But who knows? Maybe they'll bring out Ivern and Rengar, and then T1 and Caria can Gumayusa and Caria can tell their actual team, and then maybe it'll happen in Korea as well. You never know.
Yeah, I do. Their names still make me laugh. T1.
All right. Speaking of names that make you laugh, are you ready for the next team?
Maybe.
So I feel like everyone should be aware of this team name because they're, you know, but let's talk about Needlessly Large Rods, which is definitely named after the item just because they love building Death Cap. And that's why it's named needlessly large rods, you know?
Such large rods.
No, needlessly large, even. And they build into great death caps. And that's what it is about, death caps. And shadow flames. And Seraph's Embrace. No, that doesn't build into it anymore. But you know what I mean. It's definitely that. So,
yeah.
Let's talk about him. I do like that the manager, captain, coach, and top laner are the same person. So, one-stop shop, you know?
And he put it on his back. He got this.
Using Q for you. Now, let's look at the op.gg for the last 6 days. Yep. Classic. So we've got a person that loves Yone and Jax, and maybe a little bit of Kennen. This is definitely. I feel like whenever I'm looking at these op.ggs of the people in these leagues, there's like 2 types of top laners, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll play Ornn. I'll play, the tank. I'll sit up here, and there is a Shen game here, to be fair. And then there's the other types that are like, yeah, put me on the Gwyn, the Cho'Gath, the Yone. And to be fair, these are normal games, so maybe it's just messing around, having fun. And the only way to really check that is to check last year's stats. And it looks like, yeah, I mean, there's still Teemo on here, Cho'Gath, Gnar, and then there are Malphite and Poppy. And then there's a bunch of games on Jax and Trundle. So I do imagine that, whenever you're the owner, the captain, the coach, you kind of get to tell your jungler where to path. And if you get to tell your jungler where to path, why don't you just play a carry top laner and tell your jungler to path there? It just makes sense.
That's abuse.
No, it's not abuse. It's just using your power for good, Is
it? That's not win the game. Make me look good as the orc owner.
No. Let me phrase it differently. Because I don't even know if this is the dynamic, right? But look, if you're going to have a plan and be able to execute it, well, it should be, why would you, if you are the coach and the owner, you're, okay, you know what? You're right. They should, surely the jungler will have agency and be able to tell where to go. And if he has a problem with this top laner, telling him where to go, then he can go to the owner or the coach.
They're all the same guy, but yeah.
No, I'm just joking though, for sure. I imagine that if things, like if their bot lane pops off, there's no way that you're going to go, you know what, I'm going to play Yone, okay? My bot lane may be popping off, but hey, you kick in top. No, that's not happening. But, it might be the start of the season that using Q for you goes for carry top laners, and then lets things evolve. But I imagine at the beginning it is going to be carry top laners.
Mm-hmm. I do expect using Q for you to be a really strong suit of showing like Yone. I'm expecting more like super tops. Maybe we'll see a lot of Mordekaiser or maybe even Jax. Those are really good meta champions, and Mordekaiser's still just gonna be meta just to take you. Mordekaiser wants to send you to the pit of 1v1 into the Shadow Realm, and yeah. So I'm expecting using Q for you to have a really good season this split or this this winter split. Since last split he did really well too. So
yeah,
hoping.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I think it's a big shakeup for all these teams that like half their members are in one elo and half their members are another, just because of how Emerald worked out and how Riot has decided to use a roulette for deciding elo. So I'm kind of interested to see what kind of new alliances this can make,
Mm-hmm.
All right. The next member is a jungle, Notorious TLP, who has agency, right? I'm definitely not going to see hard ganking junglers that just go top lane whenever I look at this. No, I'm just kidding. Let's look at the... Oh, this is a previous top laner. Oh my gosh, you got a previous top laner to play jungle because they know how powerful jungle ganks are top lane. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh! This is it. It's just Yeah, Jason
It's
one
all
shots. All
conspiracy.
top, all top. We look at using Q for you. Your first TOP, just top lane. The other people don't exist in this game no more. All right, we're just looking 2 lanes. We're looking. Oh,
No, but I mean, looking at this OP.GG, I guess they've been playing normals to practice because it's been mostly top laners for this jungler until no. So a few months ago, my mistake. See, I saw Jace and I was like, that's a top laner, but no, that's a Jace with a smite. My mistake. No, but there are definitely some nice junglers here for ganking. Hecarim, Rammus, Maokai. I'm sure the Jace ganks will fire. Belveth, Hecarim again. Let me look at last year again.
I do see here. He is. I like this jungler. He plays Cassante jungle. I'm waiting for this. I am. That's. It's possible. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it is. It is pretty upscale to pull off. If he picks Cassante jungle, that's by all means let this man cook.
Okay, I think from what I can tell, last split, Notorious mostly played Maokai jungle. There were a lot of top laners. I don't think they were very often going jungle unless he does Orange jungle and Jace jungle. So I think a lot of his jungle is Maokai, maybe a Silas there too. Maybe that's mid lane. And it does feel like Notorious does like ganking just from this jungle pool. However, it's also worth noting that clearly this is someone who is still solidifying their jungle champion pool. So really, it's gonna have to be what shakes up between scrims and actual games.
I do agree there.
Yeah. I'm still gonna put out a baseless prediction that this jungler is gonna be top like all the time. Just baseless. We'll have to see if the bot lane's playing like Ezreal, Ziggs, or something. But
Hey, don't doubt him. This jungler do play team fight. All right, that's the good thing. It's a team fight jungler. It's not just I'm playing J4 vibe. We're just sending it top every game. So.
Speaking of the other lanes that do matter, they do matter. Mid laners, you be awesome. That should be the middle one on your screen, luckily. And actually kind of grinding. So this person grind ranked like the first day that it was released a bunch, and then they stopped for a long time. And you know what? I don't blame them. They're like, oh yeah, new season, time to get on the Rift. Rank solo, plays games. Like, wow, this is different. And you know what? Sometimes it takes a while for different to soak in.
Yeah, I do agree. New season wasn't it the first day. That was just mayhem, but respect the grind.
Right. Yeah, I mean, most of this is like trying out the new items, so I can't really make judgments from this. I feel like I did the same thing the first day of new season. I was just like, what champion can I imagine that can use this item the best? And then just start building it and see what happens. So let's look at last season then. Although the Fizz, playing it 5 games in a row is pretty instructive. Fizz was very powerful that first few days, but let's look at the last season just to make sure. There's no Fizz on here. Interesting. So last split, You Be Awesome was playing 80 carry. This split, we're 6 days in. So we're gonna have to wait on reporting on scrims or actual games, because I don't think I can make any kind of claims about this player.
I do want to say about UB Awesome, maybe they're gonna flex the ADC's mid, because that's something that with the role swapped ADC, at least that's something that they have. So with UB Awesome and the one white Asian, they probably will be swapping ADC's mid. I'm pretty sure we're gonna see Lucian mid. We're gonna see, possibly Aphelios mid. They're different, like ADC's just mid in general. That's just like just flexing the ADC.
Justana mid has been really old, and then I think that at a certain point, if your comp can sustain it, and second AD carry in the mid lane is totally fine.
Yeah.
especially if you can use the pressure from a mid lane AD carry to get the grubs, get 6 grubs, and then you have 2 AD carries with grubs pushing. It's really hard to deal with.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be that's a part of the meta we could see here in this winter split for Nisi Lars Rods. I'm actually kind of happy to see this. So
Yeah, I mean, I think UB Awesome is just something to look out for. See what happens over the next few days, and especially next week whenever they play games on the Rift. Speaking of one white Asian, let's look at the bot lane. Okay, it's not all Israel, so it could be that the jungler is going bot lane. Okay, I have to retract my earlier prediction.
did I see Ziggs? All right.
Oh
All
wait,
right.
there is a Ziggs game, but look, there's Zeri. Okay, you can't really play Zeri safe without your jungler. Like that character has 2 range, you know. And there's a lot of Zeri from last split too, where she was not very good. So I think that Zeri is something they're really going to prioritize. And then yeah, maybe like someone told them, hey, can you play a Ziggs game or two so that way we could see if we could just leave you on an island and just go top lane? Maybe we could bring the support top lane too, you know? And he's like, all right, fine, I'll do it. 1 game and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Zeri's in an interesting spot right now. I believe that Riot has mentioned her as something that they are keeping an eye on because of how bad she is currently. So we'll see. I mean, at this level, you can play Zeri AD carry and make it work. People are not expecting it. They don't know how to play around it, and no one knows how she interacts with any of the new items because I swear to God, Riot has made it intentionally impossible to figure out what she does.
Yeah, Riot's made it where you want to be a bruiser? No. You want to be an extra AD carry? No. What are you? Nothing.
Well, not just that, but like her Qs are auto attacks, but they're not auto attacks for Sheen, but they are spells, but not Spellblade. But also, and it's like every item that mentions auto attacks or abilities, you have to cross reference with Law Wiki to see how it interacts with Zeri. It feels like.
Yeah, I'm curious though if this is a very Nephilus and Zeri player. I'm gonna see how many times they let this slide of letting the one white Asian play these. I'm pretty happy to see if we get a Zeri gameplay. Either we're gonna see people. I'm pretty sure in this in Arbiter at least. I don't think we have seen Zeri plays come out. So this is actually kind of refreshing thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Zeri players are a unique breed that Riot has hunted for sport. They've been overhunted and are on the endangered species list. So hopefully we can do our part in Sentinel to keep the population visible, get some awareness out there. There are Zeri players in your area, I promise. They do exist, and we too can support them. Anyways, I'm really excited to see if they can get Zeri. Like, can you imagine if there was a Zeri ban on this patch? Like, oh, man. All right, what is Zeri going with? Fornication for the support. Oh my gosh. If I go to this player's last split, are they also gonna have 75 champions?
Knowing
no, player... only 39. Only 39. It's okay. I am just so glad I found so many kindred spirits that go to solo queue. They're like, I'm rolling the roulette. What am I playing today? I don't care. I haven't played, I haven't played, let's see. I haven't played Nocturne in 10 years. Let's pull it up.
Nocturne support all AP. My E will do
no,
so
I think
much
it was
damage.
a juggle game. I think like me, they have decided to queue up for different roles rather than playing Nocturne support, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look at their OPGG far back. For the last 6 days, though.
The last 6 days, 75 different champions? That's insane.
No. For Fornication, the last 6 days, right? A lot of enchanters, which is great. I think enchanters are really good on this map, but also a little bit of fun stuff. The Xerath. You see all those mid laners running around with Storm Surge, you're like, can I be that mage? And yes, you absolutely can if you snowball hard enough. And then a little bit of Senna, which I believe that Senna and Zeri is probably one of the worst bot lane combos, so I don't think it's going to come out unless Zeri is not on the table. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they just pull it out anyways. Oh, there's a Twitch support game from last year. Amazing. That would be really fun to see.
So,
Yeah.
since you don't know who Thirtification is, this is one of the players I used to play with him a little back then in the
Mhm.
day with me, and so he actually does play Ivan support. So
Oh, I played that too. That was so fun. Does he still play it?
he still plays it to this day. It's his pocket. It's his
Awesome.
pocket pick that he loves to pick, and we try to
Mhm.
make it work. I think I don't know how many times, but it's just the funniest thing to see.
Oh yeah, Ivern is not what we're gonna talk about it because we're giving out the strats apparently. There's no Ivern here. I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I just see a tree. Don't you see a tree?
It'll be interesting to see what they pick. Ivern Zeri sounds awful, but Ivern Aphelios could maybe work. So excited to see that lane. But I don't know. I didn't really theory craft what works well with Ivern. So maybe it could work with Zeri. Here's the question. If you right click a Zeri on an enemy champion, does it move you forward and cast a Q, or does it move you forward and right click? It's got to be right click, right? You can't Q to in range. See, like these mechanics are so weird. I just don't understand. Is it an auto attack or is it a spell? Right? Make up your mind. Anyways.
Sorry, the Siri player is looking at us like, you really gotta do this to me? Like, let's not hurt the population, she says. And then we're hurting the
I'm sorry. Zeri's a
population!
great champion. Zeri's a great champion. Everyone should pick her up a little bit. See if you like her.
Oh, oh, let's not hunt the Siri population. Put Caitlyn onto her. Send her away.
I'm just gonna briefly talk about the sub. Looks like they're a support main. Ironically, this is the player I've seen today with the most like. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say that they were the player with like the most like situated champion pool where they've played just support and only support, and that was quickly proven wrong by the fact that they played top lane last year a little bit, but that's okay. Yeah, so support top lane main, pretty good roles to be able to sub out in case something happens. Also, if you want to play with Zeri and you want like a champion that maybe your Ivern support doesn't play, you could play the Morgana, the Janna, classic Janna.
We can't leak intel. I can't say any much. I'm gonna get fired for this.
Players want to know. But okay, we'll talk about it during the games or something. Which you'll be casting some of the games, right?
No promises. No promises.
Anyways, that's needlessly large rods. I expect them to be building a lot of death caps because of their name, even the Zeri.
Hey, that's the secret tag. That's the secret tag.
But let us move on to our third team, RAR. And with Doki at the coach helm again and the owner. Make sure I have everything in order. Yep. All right. Start with the top laner because we always start with top laners because they need special attention. I'm sorry, I said to throw that in there. Let's go to the top laner, Edogard. Edogard? Something. Okay, the last time that Edogard played ranked was a month ago, so I'm kind of curious if they're planning to grind their like requirement games really soon, or if they have another account that I'm not aware of.
I think we're counting. There's not a lot of games either. We'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, rank flex is what it works too, right? From what I remember as a player. Yeah, and rank flex they are playing all top lane, which is consistent. A lot of different champions, but let's see. Does it show on stream? No, it shows their rank solo from like a month ago. All right, so to catch people up on stream, their games in rank flex look to be Darius, Set, Gwen, Kale, Malphite, and Poppy. Which, if you notice, there's kind of, I mean, there's also a Kale. Yeah, it's the typical top lane at this level where you play either a champion that can kill a lot of people or you just play a tank, which is kind of top lane in general. But you know, there's no like Vayne top or anything, right? There's no they're not playing Riven. Although you could argue Gwen is a little bit like Riven, just like better in the meta currently. So my main point is that this top laner can play kind of a balanced style. Well, yeah, they can take the teleporting Night Gwen and say, you need to bring your jungler here, I need to bring my jungler here, we're going to 2v2 all game long because I don't have flash. But they're also willing to play the set and the Aatrox and the Malphite and the Poppy. Which is, beneficial for a team to have that kind of dynamic.
Mm-hmm. It's good. I like the little bounce that we hear, the little spice, knowing that it's the Ignite Gwen, not the Ghost Gwen. So he's just a full powerhouse in. I guess he doesn't need mobility. So.
Yeah, Gwen is one of those champions that does really well without flash, and does really well with Ignite, and does really well snowballing. And it's always a sign to junglers whenever you have a lane without flash that something's going to happen there, and you probably want to be part of it.
I do agree there.
Speaking of junglers, let's talk about the raw jungler, Nox Lucifer. Let's see, I notice people are already noticing a little bit ahead on the support player. There may be a pattern here. Can't quite put my finger on it, but we're still talking about the jungler, so we'll get back to that. So I'm assuming they played ranked flex together because that's usually how it works. But my assumption appears to be wrong, so never mind. For the past 6 days, their jungler has done some interesting things, namely not play jungle. They played one jungle game in the last 6 days of ranked, and it was Jarvan. Let's go to last season. And this champion pool is also very... Oh no. This might be the most champions yet I've seen. 83 different champions over the last split. And the number one was Zed. I think I actually am going to go back and check and see if the Zed games were jungle or mid, because it is possible to do both. It looks like, from what I can tell, the jungle games from last year were mid lane. So if we're talking about actually just jungle games for Nox Lucifer, it's a lot of Master Yi, some Ivern, unless that's support, you never know, Viego, Kayn. And all four of those champions seem to, not all four, sorry. Everyone save Ivern seems to fit into a very clear mold of snowball junglers, right? The Master Yi, Kayn, and what was the last one? Viego. So, a very specific niche, right? An AD hypercarry jungler.
Yeah, it kind of fits what Nox Lucifer has a style I think he likes to play, or they like to play, which is just kind of just blitz in, have fun. He's just in there to decide what happens later. Doesn't think he doesn't think about it now. He thinks about it after that happens, and he's the guy that goes in, has fun, and then we may see him alive in the next 10 seconds. We may not.
Yeah, so very interesting to see how that turns out specifically. I think that Master Yi is one of those champions that you don't often see at this level. I could be wrong, but I feel like it's not one that most people would want to play in a bit of a coordinated sense. So I'm interested to see if Nox brings it here. Do you know if they played it last split or anything?
I don't know if Nox Lucifer played for Raw or was here last split. I'm not too sure. This name's not very familiar in my brain.
Okay, then we can move on to Parmesan. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here. Someone who saw Malignance and was like, yeah, I'm gonna make that work. Wait, actually, did they play? Oh, okay. So from what I can tell from Parmesan's op.gg, it seems like they are the type of person that just picks a champion and grinds it, which is very respectable. However, they do seem to be picking champions pretty commonly. There's just a lot of Nivea. Like, there's other champions that come and go in streaks, but there's just consistently a Nivea, from what I can tell. Although I am picking up some arena games here. Let me filter this properly. Yeah, I mean, from all these champions, Anivia is just the most consistent. It's good to have other champions, obviously, in coordinated play because of the fact that bans exist. But even the other champions are some mages and then a few assassins. Almost every character that I can see here, though, is a character that scales into the late game. With almost no exception. Just a champion that really wants the game to go on later, which is a little bit harder to pull off in coordinated play. But I think that the mages work really well with something like a Master Yi. You know, I bring the CC, I control the wave so that way you have the perfect gank opportunity, and then there's an Anivia wall with a Master Yi charging at you. So, I think that this mid jungle combo is something to look out for. I don't often see mid laners where, you know, the jungler is probably going to be directed towards there. In this case, I absolutely do see it. So definitely something to check on, the Nox Lucifer Parmesan synergy.
Yeah, I do agree there too. Parmesan does play a lot of Yone too, so we'll see where the switch up is. I'm pretty sure this team is in Raw is just a must ban Anivia, just because it's just if we get to that later point in the game, Anivia is just gonna be it's just a really hard bird to stop with an egg. So it's just very strong burb.
Yep, that burb. We aren't going to do Zeri just for safety reasons for this league. Oh, yeah.
No, stop.
You might not. Anyways, let's move on to, speaking of AD carries, Magic Claps. Looking at what the OPGG's on screen says, making sure it doesn't look that different from what I'm looking at. Is that an auction? That's funny. Yeah. There is a Zeri game here, by the way, speaking of which. But,
all right.
Yeah. Last 6 days has been something, you know, Magic Clap's looking for whatever fits the meta, settling on some nice little classic AD carries like Caitlyn, Lucian, Varus. Been around for a long time, not broken. Yeah, I mean, all of these champions, Lucian really, and the Caitlyn like the jungle pressure, but Varus can sit pretty regardless. Let's look at last split a little bit more, just to make sure I'm not drawing too deep of a narrative that doesn't fit. Yeah, mostly Lucian games last split. And then a little bit of Varus. And a little bit of Ezreal. Yeah, I mean, I think that these champions, foreshadowing, I think that these champions work really well with Zyra. I'm just saying that for some reason. You know, just throwing it out there. Let's look at the support. What could they possibly play?
I know,
Blue
right?
Sapphire.
That's crazy. It's totally like we were told by chat.
Whoa! That's a lot of Zyra!
Whoa! Yeah, that's a lot. Even the icon is Zyra. That's crazy!
I feel like the first 2 bans every match is just going to be Anivia Zyra.
Yeah,
Anivia Zyra gone. But even the supports that aren't Zyra I'm looking at here, constant engage. The Amumu support, which is a shout out from a year ago. So, like, I think Lucian's going to fit in really well with this support, no matter what support they're playing. You can play Caitlyn with one of these, but it doesn't work quite as well. Caitlyn's Zyra, obviously, but like with Caitlyn and Mumu, Caitlyn, Maokai, whatever, not quite as powerful. But I am expecting to see a lot of Lucian lanes if it comes through. And I think that Zyra will not get through in the first week. But we'll see.
We'll see. I'm pretty sure if it has to be Zyra or Nico. This is a fellow Nico enjoyer too. So I'm willing to bet that Blue Sapphire will either pull these 2 and just make this a poke lane, and then we're just gonna see Varus Caitlyn, Varus Lucian. Those are probably the main pickups for Team Raw, and that's that's something we like to see. Aggression bot, just
I'm interested in what Nox chooses to do because I feel like every lane is going to be a good gank for him at any point in this game. So curious to see what Nox's level 1s look like. I don't think that they'll be full clears. That's just my number one assumption.
level 2
Quick,
camp.
quickly talking about the subs. Doki we talked about yesterday. Plays every role. Shotcalls everything in his games. So pretty much a good sub to have all around. One player just has a power outage randomly, Doki will be there. And it's A-okay. Riptor, I don't know as well. Seems to play AD carry, which can be good if you have someone like a Zyra and you're like trying to find something that fits a little bit better. If your current AD carry wants to play something else. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an AD carry main.
Mhm.
So, looks good. You want to get on to the final team?
Yeah, we can get to the final team. Yes,
Yeah, we
yes.
can. Yeah, good. So the final team is White
Mhm.
Lotus. And they are interesting to me because they only have 5 players. Is that right? Yeah, they don't have a sub yet. But they do have all 5 players at least. Let me open up some of these. We'll start with their top laner, Thorn. Sorry, that's gonna be hard to say during
It,
cast as well.
yeah, Zero Thorn. We'll have to. I hope we can get a pronunciation thing so we don't mess up this person's name too much.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can. Usually the players are pretty quick to tell pronunciation at least. So this is the top laner. And I swear, I've looked at so many top laners OP.GGs, and it does feel very similar. There's Renekton, Aatrox, Scion, Mordekaiser. Like, obviously there's differences. Like, the Rumble, I don't think I've seen from many other top laners. And the Mordekaiser is only on a few, and this is the second person with Cassante. But all top lane champions just kind of bleed together. Wait, that's a
Yes,
top
with
lane
your
champion I haven't seen
games.
much. Yeah, that's exactly what I was like. Yeah, I was like, wait a second. That's different.
Oh
Just
wow.
completely out of field Udyr. Yeah, so this is a person that can definitely just play your classic top lane. But then there's just an Udyr randomly. So I'm very excited to see that in coordinated play. It does feel like a champion that really benefits from having your jungler in the call. Which is something you cannot say about solo queue, unfortunately, usually. And I think that, whatever the performance is in solo queue, which looks very good for Udyr, I think it will perform better in coordinated play. That could be a baseless assumption. Like, I'm not an expert on Udyr top, unfortunately. I've not seen enough games. But it does seem like the champion that really benefits from having your jungle tracking outsourced and having your jungler fully aware of what's going on in that lane. So I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah, we're gonna maybe Trick 2G fan. Maybe it's
Yeah,
your top.
do the dance and like play the music in the team Discord whenever things go right.
Just hear him scream to the gates. Just running it down.
The gates are open. We're gonna have to keep that in the back pocket for casting Zero Thorns games. Just like the gates are open. Anyways, moving on to the jungler, Prowl from White Lotus. This is consistent. Oh my goodness, every game they've played for the last like 2 months has been on jungle. Wow. Really like to see that consistency from someone playing in a coordinated team like this. There's one Rise game, but I'm sure that's autofill. Let's look at the ranked games though, because I want to see if they do bring this Karthus to ranked. Yeah, so it's mostly the meta junglers, Maokai, Jarvan, Sejuani, and then occasionally you get something really spicy. Karthus jungle is like meta, but it's like takes a specialist to kind of play it. So, you kind of know what you're getting into, but a lot of junglers don't know how Karthus paths. And then you've got the Evelynn and the Morgana that most people have no idea what's going on there, and they're clear and stuff. I mean, Lilia a little, or I said Lilia Morgana, or I said something else. Evelynn. Yes,
Evelyn,
Evelyn
Evelyn.
Morgana. And Morgana, where you get you're not quite sure what's going on with that clear if you haven't played it that much.
Ah, lucky
So
for you,
the
I'm here. Morgana clear is actually very consistent because
Mhm.
W heals off of also your passive, so you're just maxing W, and I think at some point when you hit level 5 or level 4, your W just insta clears.
Yeah,
It's really fast.
It's very hard to track a jungler you're not used to. And while people are used to Maokai Pass, they're used to Jarvan Pass and the EQs coming out of the bush, I think they're not so clear on how to deal with an Evelyn post 6 and how to deal with a Morgana jungler at all.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
something
think you
that's like
guys have the wrong main account, by the way. Awesome. You know what? I mean, this person plays a lot of jungler. I'm pretty sure this is their jungler.
totally not the wrong person on screen.
I did send it in as well myself. Well, maybe we'll come back to the jungler. But from what I'm seeing, it looks good. It is true that the last ranked game was a month ago. Perhaps they've updated, but all right. So I think production is figuring that out. I think I can also pull it up myself. Just a quick moment. Oh, I am. That's embarrassing. Okay, I think I've got the new main account, and these junglers are completely different. Which happens. Sometimes you're like, you know what, new split, new me. I want to play new junglers. Actually, just like entirely different. There's still the Evelyn, but then there's like Poppy, Nunu, Udyr, Belveth, which I love to see, Ivern, which I think is like something that people tried to pick up for the new split, and we're realizing that maybe he doesn't work as well with the new items as other enchanters. But still, I mean, yeah, I'm still excited to some Rel Jungle. I love Rel Jungle. Okay, so you know what? No matter what I've seen from this jungler, either this page or the other page, there's just clearly going to be a very difficult time for the opponents to really understand what he's going to pick until he picks it.
Yeah.
Because maybe they reach into the back pocket and pull out the Evelyn and the Udyr. And the Morgana, or maybe they just play it simple and play Xin Zhao again,
Yeah.
Either way, you can't ban this person out. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the fun part of things. Guessing what to ban.
I just ban nothing and hope for the best. Maybe they'll make a mistake. I don't know. Let's talk about the mid laner, the Daz. Now, the Daz has been in LXC before, I believe.
Yes.
And I am seeing a very clear pattern with their solo queue, which is to say sometimes they pick up the mage, but usually they're pressing R and running in. Well, not with Echo. You're pressing E and running in, and then R to kill someone or get out. But yeah, this is a lot of assassins. And I'm excited to see more assassins at this level of play. I think that a lot of people who play mages, they don't get a lot of practice of coordinating. Like, yes, you do have to punish solo queue assassins at your level, but usually your solo queue assassin opponent doesn't have a jungler who's in the call and ready to punish you for punishing that assassin. So it's a little bit harder of a trick to play the mage in this level. And I think I've seen a lot of mages in this league, and I'm hoping that maybe an assassin or two pops in and changes the meta a little bit.
Yeah. I do agree with that. I do want to see this Echo come out of the Daz too, because he doesn't play the traditional like electrocute. He plays Hail Blades, so he's lucky just to hit you 3 times and run away. And I think that's really funny because it's like a hit and run. He's just pop 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 goodbye.
Spark my storm surge, get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the last player that played a bunch of Anivia. There were some Hui players. All of those are going to have to really answer, can you do the basic mage thing of beating an Echo or Fizz in lane? And if you can't, well, you better ban it.
Oh yeah. be a fun thing to see from this team. There's a lot of bans and picks that are very what to look for.
So I think I was mistaken. It wasn't just not a different account. It just wasn't Prowl's account at all that we were looking at earlier. So I mean, still same thing. There just might not be a Morgana jungle. I'm sorry if I teased that and it's not coming. But maybe if Prowl is a true homie, they will practice Morgana jungle for us. Okay, it is their account, just an alt. Okay, never mind. Corrected. Okay, Morgana jungle could still be coming. Let's look at the bot lane. Starting with Disgrace. Yep. Classic bot lane. Classic 80 carries. Nothing exciting. No Zeri here. But nothing. Oh, wait, there is a Zeri 9 days ago. I'm totally lying. But still, like, this is the classic season 14 bot lane player. Lucian, Caitlyn, Xayah, a little bit spiciness, and then Varus, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bot lane has been pretty stable lately, other than people are like, wait, Storm Surge is broken. Why don't we just play mage bot lane? But I expect it to be stable coming into this season. Seeing the main namestays of bot lane, Caitlyn, Lucian, and then maybe a little bit of Xayah, just like this player, just like Disgrace. So I don't think there's really going to be any innovations very quickly into the season, and that's totally normal for bot lane. And perhaps the meta will change, but if not, Disgrace is very ready with the very consistent picks. I am excited to see Xayah because that is a personal favorite of mine. But other than that, classic 80 carries.
I do want to say for White Lotus, they do play the Senna Tom Kench. So I do want to see where that appears a lot. And there's an occasional Draven. So just
do you know if Disgrace plays the Senna or the Kench?
Disgrace plays the Senna.
Yeah. Okay.
And then It's John plays the catch. So they're still doing the normal switch where it's usually support plays Tom and then ADC plays Senna. Yeah.
And that's very exciting to see as well because a lot of bot lanes are still still a little unsure how to play against that because it's not very common in solo queue. It is very rare in solo queue to see someone play Senna and then the AD carry go, okay, I'll just play Tom Kench, or vice versa. So we'll see if they're used to it from other coordinated play they've had in the past, or if Disgrace is able to leverage that to be able to scale very well with Senna. Speaking of the Tom Kench player, that would be It's John. And they have been playing a lot of support this season so far, which is nice. Even the support Ashe, which I'm very excited for, although that might have been a normal game, so whatever. Maybe it's not that indicative of what they're actually going to play.
It was just the intrusive thought, just
I will be the 80 carry today. Interesting that they have not played that much, I don't think at all this season yet. So we're gonna have to look at split 2 of last year.
Yeah. I do there's a lot of from what I'm looking at, a lot of Maokai, a lot of Rakan, there's Milio. So he's mostly an engage. He's a Zyra player too. I guess we're just Arbiter Leagues of Zyras. Woo!
I mean, I'm for it. Zyra has been off meta for so long, and as much as I hate playing against Zyra, I think that champion really deserves a little bit of sunlight, no pun intended. Because Zyra, I feel like, has been the support that has been abandoned in a dark corner of a basement by Riot for years. And finally, she's seeing a little bit of play, and already people are calling for her head. So, maybe she should exist in the meta for just a little tiny bit and then see what happens.
Keep that abomination in the corner.
See, this is what I'm talking about, right? It's like, yeah, you know what? I kind of agree with players like you. Just get it out. Anyways. Yeah. Just returning back to it. I see some Bard, which if you pull that off in solo queue. Oh, I see. Oh. Okay. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I did not see some Bard from last year. No, never mind. That was some normal games. I was in the wrong menu for op.gg. Yeah, there's Zyra, there's Nautilus, there's Alistar. very classic champions. I mean, Zyra pulling it out last split was a little early, so nice to see that. I wonder if that's Sylas support. Either way, probably just gonna stick to the regular enchanters for competitive play. Who knows? Maybe it's John will pull out like the Zoe support or this Pike. But I imagine that it's probably just gonna be Rakan, Alistair, Nautilus, Milio, the classics.
Yeah, just the classic supports. Happy to see Senna Tom, just classic. This is the classic support of I play basic stuff and I have fun, and then splash of Zyra. But we're gonna just leave Zyra in the corner, just keep it there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so again, this is only 4 teams, but they're going to be playing each other a lot, which is actually kind of exciting. Usually in leagues like this, you only get to play teams multiple times in the playoffs, but this time there's going to be normal season adjustments that are going to be very heavy because it's double round robin, and you get to play 3 games against them, so you really get to refine those adjustments in the middle of the series. So, we'll get to know these players pretty well on Tuesday. We'll be casting half of them every Tuesday. So, we will get more in-depth looks as the season goes on. This is only 6 days of solo queue, but I'm excited to see how these players develop, how the teams develop. And if you had to guess, which team do you think will start off doing really well?
I think the team that I think is gonna start for really well, it's probably Baron Besties, just because I think Liv and Moxie are back into their respective roles of ADC and support. They did role swap to top and jungle last season. They are, the IBS winners, and I think they were really coordinated with just them two, and then with everyone else coming into that team. So I'm looking to see Baron Besties start off really strong early, but maybe start falling off mid to late. I think they're the early game team. That's my opinion.
Interesting.
Right
now. I think that White Lotus is in a position to start really strong. I'm only looking at their OPG.GGs for last split and just a bunch of random data basically from solo queue. But I don't know, something tells me just from their champion pools and mostly their champion pools, obviously. That's most of the information that I have. I think that they are going to do really well, but really we'll get into the details as the season progresses. Yeah, I mean, I think that is about all we can say about these 4 teams. So, thank you so much for joining me last minute, Lala.
No worries. I'm here.
I know you were so excited to be here. And thank you to the audience as well. I'm hoping to bring you more data as the season goes on. Remember, the season starts next week. Same place, same time. The Sentinel League will be on Tuesdays, I believe. We're doing the pre-show on the same day that they're streaming, I would imagine. So if you want to watch some of these players, especially if you want to catch a rare Zyra or Zeri, then you should really show up on Tuesday next week.
Yes.
All right. Thank you guys for watching. I think that's everything.
Yep. Thank you. Maybe you'll see me again. Who knows?